Very good evening to all our viewers on Focus TV, Asia's first news and current affairs channel for women. This is Arati from Mumbai studio. So before we start the bulletin, let's run through the headlines of the evening. Missing bulletproof jacket file found. 3 clerks face suspension. Bogus ration card in the name of famous personalities. One that says Sonia is resident of Hingoli. Three Idiots premier rocks here. K. Salman avoid brushing. Mumbaikers getting in Christmas spirit amidst tight security. And now news in detail. In connection with the missing bulletproof jackets file case, 3 government employees of the city police will face action from Home Department. The file, which went missing from Police Commissioner's office soon after the 26/11 attack, has now been found from the office of the Deputy Commissioner of Police. Now a report into the inquiry of the missing file has been forwarded to the Home Department, which will take a decision on action against the 3 clerks. The issue of the missing file was raised following a public interest litigation filed by social activist Santosh Dankar, alleging irregularity in the purchase of substandard bulletproof vests for the police, which led to the death of 3 senior officers in 26/11 terror strikes. Earlier, when Dankar sought information about the jackets under the Right to Information Act from the Commissioner's office, he was told that the file was missing. And after it was reported that the missing bulletproof jacket of slain ATS chief Hemant Karkare may have been disposed of along with other waste by the sweeper at the JJ hospital, Kavita Karkare, who have demanded a probe into the missing jacket, have alleged the claim is a sign that the state is under pressure to explain the disappearance of the jacket.
It was reported that a sweeper from JJ hospital had approached the Mumbai crime branch, claiming to have dumped slain anti-terrorism squad chief Hemant Karkare's bulletproof jacket in plastic bags meant for biomedical waste. Kavita Karkare, wife of Hemant Karkare, has termed this step of the police as an eyewash and that she has lost all hopes of getting justice from the police. Kavita said, "This theory had cropped up now because the government is under pressure. I don't believe in this theory of the police." Questioning as to how the sweeper suddenly surfaced after a gap of 1 year, Kavita said, "I had raised a few questions regarding the missing jacket months ago. Where was the sweeper at that time and why didn't he come forward to register his statement?" However, according to reports, there is no mention of the bulletproof jacket in the Panchnama made by the police. Meanwhile, the police officials feel that it's not proper to hold them responsible as the situation at the hospital was chaotic. Bureau Report, Focus TV, Mumbai.
Meanwhile, Mumbai terror suspect David Coleman Headley seems to have deliberately kept out information that could have raised suspicion while applying for an Indian visa. According to charges filed by US federal prosecutors against him, while applying for his visa to travel to India, Headley misrepresented his birth name, father's true name and the purpose for his travel. The Maharashtra government has now made easier for those Muslim couples seeking divorce through the Shariat route. Couple no longer have to still approach the family court or any other court of law to have such divorce declared as valid. The state has carved an exemption for the Muslim community and clarified that those who have taken or been given divorce or dissolved their marriage through a talaq, khula, mubarat or talaq-e-tazweez will be treated as being validly divorced. They no longer have to still approach the family court or any other court of law to have such divorce declared as valid. The circular has been issued by the Inspector General of Registration and Marriage Registrar. It essentially says that Muslim divorce not granted by courts are legally valid without necessitating the cumbersome process of filing a declaration petition before the family court to give them validated. This is a boon for those wishing to remarry soon. Prior to the exemption, despite a talaq, khula or consented divorce under Islamic law, Muslims still had to produce a decree from the family court for various government authorities, including passport and even marriage registrars, to recognize it as legal. The state's move would help a Muslim woman dissolve the marriage at her instance without going to the court. She can seek khula through a mufti expeditiously. She can then use the khula certificate as a valid legal document for a passport, visa or even remarriage. The exemption also will help a Muslim woman give talaq by her husband to proceed immediately to magistrate's court for a fair and reasonable provision as maintenance for life or till her remarriage under the Muslim Women's Act. The state's move is being largely hailed as a positive step for Muslims who were made to do multiple trips to court, engage lawyers and incur huge expenses for essentially asking the family court to approve an extrajudicial form of divorce already granted or executed. Kavita Sharma, Focus TV, Mumbai. And to know more on this exemption by the state government, we have with us over the telephone line Advocate Mrinali Deshmukh, matrimonial lawyer. Welcome to Focus TV, Ms. Deshmukh. First of all, we would like to know from you whether this notification will be applicable to Muslim couples residing in any other state than Maharashtra.
No, as far as the notification goes, it's only applicable to those who are within the state of Maharashtra, because this has been introduced by the government.
Right. Also, Ms. Deshmukh, what do you think are the advantages of this notification passed by the state government?
Well, the advantages are, as is evident, is that the Muslims who had to undergo all the process of taking talaq or khula under the personal law, by itself, that document was not held to be eligible or valid for purposes of passport, etc. And they had to go to the family court to seek a declaration under Section 7 of the Family Courts Act to declare their marriage dissolved or null and void, etc., as the case may have been. Which meant, obviously, as it goes, multiplicity of proceedings, cost, etc., etc. With this, we will have some respite and some relief, and in these cases, probably the litigants will be saved the trouble of going to the courts.
Ms. Deshmukh, we just spoke about the advantages. Now, talking about the disadvantages of the same.
I would suggest that probably the disadvantages are a little more than the advantages. Now, the reason being is, I mean, in this case, I think it's the woman who I feel would be at this little disadvantageous position. And the reason being is that if the husband does pronounce triple talaq, as they call it, pronounces the talaq, and if that talaq is reduced in the form of a talaq nama, which is like a divorce deed, you know, as we understand. So if it is reduced into a talaq nama, and if that is held to be a valid and a binding one, then we do not know what would be the plight of hundreds of Muslim women, especially those who are not educated, who are illiterate, and who are below the poverty line, or you know, going through modest upbringing. So from that point of view, it should not be used to the disadvantage of these women which I have discussed.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Deshmukh, for being with us. This was Advocate Mrinali Deshmukh sharing her insights on the recent development where the Maharashtra government has made it much simpler for the Muslim couples to seek divorce through Shariat route. With this, it's time for a short break here, but there's more in the bulletin, so keep watching Focus Mumbai. Welcome back after the break. You're watching Focus Mumbai. Now, if we see the Congress President Sonia Gandhi and her family members are residents of Hingoli district in Maharashtra, certainly you will be surprised. The nexus between ration officers and agents have succeeded in making fake ration cards in the names of high-profile personalities